I just got back from watching Venom 3, aka The Last Dance. Now, this film was interesting because I don't really know if I like this film, to be honest. Because, like I said, it was kind of interesting. There was kind of a lot of stuff happening. The biggest compliment I can probably give this film is this really cool popcorn bucket that I got to go watch the film. 'Cause, I mean, look at this. This is Venom's head. This is literally his whole ass head. Like, look at the detail on this thing. It's pretty cool. And yes, that noise is popcorn inside there because I did eat it with popcorn. You can see the popcorn inside there. So yeah, this popcorn bucket is pretty cool. And yeah, the film itself was it was interesting. I don't really know if I liked it or not because there's a lot of stuff happening with the film, and Venom isn't really in the film because it does make sense because he has like this thing inside of him. You know what? I think I'm probably gonna dive into spoilers, so spoiler warning in case you haven't seen it because there's just a lot that I gotta talk about here. So basically, the film starts off with like right after where Venom Let There Be Carnage, or no, not Let There Be Carnage, right after Spider-Man No Way Home, like the post-credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, the Venom: The Last Dance movie picks up at that point when he's like, at the bar, drunk and all that. He's drunk for like most of the movie, Eddie Brock, so it's kind of weird to end the Venom trilogy with him being drunk and hungover. So it's just kind of weird, but yeah, it ends where Spider-Man No Way Home ended with him like disappearing and whatnot. But they do it in a bit of a different way. Like they still mention like Thanos and everything with like people disappearing for 5 years because obviously it's in the MCU. But in Spider-Man No Way Home, Eddie disappeared with like the glowing white thingy. That's not what happens in The Last Dance. He just like gets teleported through like a portal or something and then ends up back in his hometown. Well, actually, it's not really his hometown. It's more of like Mexico, where he ends up just not in the MCU. It's in his own world. But the film doesn't really even start with that. It starts right off the bat with Null sending the xenophages off after Eddie because he realizes that Eddie and Venom have the I'm already forgetting what the name is, but they have like this glowing orange orb thingy that like Noel needs to escape his like prison that the symbiotes have put him in. And so yeah, the only way to get that thingy is if they were to die and the symbiote revives them, which happened in the first Venom movie when Eddie Brock died and then Venom revived him. They gained that glowing orange orb thingy that I forget what it's called. Oh, it was the Cortex. I remember what it's called now. It was called the Cortex. And so or Codex. It was either Codex or Cortex. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember. I think it was Codex. Yeah, it's like this glowing orange orb thingy that Noel needs to escape, and the only way to attain it or obtain it is if the host dies and the symbiote brings them back to life. So, yeah, that's why Venom's not really in the film for most of the film. He is in some scenes here and there, but like most of the time when he's in it, the xenophage is going after him. So, yeah, there's like this whole thing of like Venom not being able to come out because if he does, the xenophage will come after him, this and that. And it was interesting. I don't think I liked it more than Let There Be Carnage. I didn't really like Let There Be Carnage. And I was also really hyped for Toxin because I hyped him up at the end of Let There Be Carnage, and I was like, "Oh man, we're getting Toxin." But he was completely wasted in this movie because like they changed his color from like this Spider-Man looking color. In case you don't know, Toxin has like this red and blue color scheme, so it probably makes sense as to why they would change it to not confuse the general audience with like Spider-Man and this and that. Because the only difference is really that like Toxin is just like plain red and blue, no logos, no nothing, and he has a green tongue. So I guess it makes sense why they changed it, but they never referred to him as Toxin. They just referred to him as a symbiote. Matter of fact, the only symbiote that's like name dropped in this movie is Venom. They don't say any other symbiote name other than Venom. Like they don't say Toxin. Agony is in the movie as well, although I wouldn't expect or don't expect Agony to be in the movie for that long because she's not. She's in like one scene and that's it. So yeah, there's like this random symbiote that attaches to this one girl who's I don't remember whose name is, but yeah, she's in the third act way longer than Agony is, even though the main character or the person who Agony attaches to is like a main character, but like it's only in like one scene. Meanwhile, this like supporting character is a symbiote longer than Agony is, and it's like okay, so yeah, it was pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and dive into it a bit more. All right, I had to pause it there just so I can like think about it for a little bit longer, think about what I wanted to say. But Yeah, the way they use Noel in this movie was kind of interesting because he's not really in it a whole lot. I didn't really expect him to get off his throne in the movie, and he doesn't. He sits in that damn chair throughout the entire movie, which I mean makes sense because it's not really his throne; it's more of like his prison. So yeah, he sends the xenophages after Venom, and then it kind of like cuts to him every now and then, or it doesn't really cut to him till like the third act of the movie when they're defeating the xenophages. It cuts to Nolan and all that, and then the end credit scene is it shows his face because most of the time he's sitting down like this, and then at the end he like pops up like this, and it was kind of like a jump scare, because it was just like sitting like this most of the time, and then he just comes up like this. I'm like, oh my god, but yeah, it's Nolan in this movie is voiced by Andy Serkis, who, if you guys don't know, is the director of the first two Venom movies. So the fact that they, got him to voice Nolan is kind of interesting. I made a whole video back in September about, possibly Norman Reedus playing Nolan. Didn't end up happening at all. But yeah, I was kind of expecting Nolan to only be in the post-credit scene. So when it opened with Nolan, hang on, I gotta fix my hair here. It's kind of all over the place right now. But yeah, when it started right off the bat with Noel, I was kind of just like, oh, we're going right into Noel. Because like I said, I made that video talking about how Noel could possibly be the last scene of the movie and only the last scene. Which, I mean, it was a post-credit scene, but I thought that would be like the only scene we would get of him. So the fact that, we started right off the bat with Noel sending the xenophages to Earth, I was kind of like, oh, all right, I guess we're going right into it. But yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this movie because I keep saying it's interesting, but that's all I can really say about it. It was just kind of interesting because Chwintle Ejiofor, I think his name is pronounced, he doesn't really do a whole lot in this film. I don't really know if he dies at the end. I think he does because there's like this acid explosion and a bunch of acid falls on him, so I think it's pretty safe to assume that he's dead. But yeah, he doesn't really do a whole lot. He just kind of hates everybody in this film, which I mean, it makes sense because why would hate Venom and Eddie and all that. But yeah, then also the other character, the blonde-haired character that I was talking about, doesn't really do any. Nobody really does anything in this film either, except for like hunt Eddie and Venom. So don't really know what was going on there, and I don't really know who the other symbiotes were in this movie other than Agony and Toxin, because there was like four other symbiotes. There was like a brownish orange colored one. Scream was not in this movie; she didn't make an appearance. But yeah, there's this brownish one who had like the big fists and all that. I don't really know what his name was. And then there was like these two teal color symbiotes that were like working together, whose names I don't really know because they never said any of the names. And then there's that other chick that I was talking about who was like the greenish teal color symbiote who did more than Agony did. Because like I said, Agony was in like the one scene. But yeah, the thing that I liked is that they weren't scared to separate Eddie and Venom, because that is what happens at the end of this movie, is a bunch of xenophages show up. There's like 6 or so of them, and then, yeah, like they show up, and then Venom, what the hell? Venom and Eddie end up getting separated by the end of the third act, and Venom ends up dying because of all the acid. So, kind of surprising that they managed to, not hold back, I guess, on separating Venom and Eddie. So yeah, it was interesting. And for a PG-13 movie, was also kind of interesting because like there's a lot of scenes with like blood and everything, and the xenophages like would like suck up people and even symbiotes because like that's the way Toxin dies, is that the xenophage sneaks into the lab and then just shows up and then eats Toxin, and I'm like, oh, all right, he's dead. So I was kind of looking forward to Venom and Toxin fighting each other, which didn't end up happening. Toxin just dies right off the bat. I'm like, oh, alrighty, I guess we're doing that then. And then, yeah, like I said, the first post-credit scene is of Noel, like, rising up and showing his face and saying that, oh, Venom's gone, so now I'm going to destroy the world. And then the second post-credit scene is just a throwaway joke. It's the dude from the bar at the beginning of the movie, because they like kidnap him, or they don't kidnap him, but like each Four's character takes him to like their facility, and then the end of the post credit scene is him like walking out of all the destruction and everything and being like, what the hell, where am I? So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend staying for the first or the second post-credit scene. Stay for the first, not the second. If I had to rate this film, I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 6 or something, because like it's a fine movie. I'd probably prefer Let There Be Carnage, maybe even the first Venom movie. But yeah, this was probably the weakest out of the trilogy. But if you like the first 3 Venom films, I'd say check it out. And also, again, really cool popcorn bucket right here that you can go ahead and get at your cinema, theater, wherever. They might have different ones. I don't know. This is the one that they had at my theater. But yeah, I don't know if they got anything else to talk about for this movie. Oh, there was also the whole Vegas scene, which I didn't really think was needed. I feel like they put that scene in there so that Venom could come out, because there's like throughout most of the second act, he's not really there. But again, he has his reason to not be there because of the xenophage that's going after him. So they have this whole second act scene of him in Vegas and whatnot. And again, the whole family, who is like Risa Fawn's character. He's part of this like family with like this 10-year-old kid, and then there's a daughter that they have and the wife. They were kind of random in this movie because they don't really do anything. Well, I mean, I guess the dad, Risa Fawn's character, does kind of do stuff because he like saves Eddie from like being eaten by one of the xenophages. He like blows up one of the xenophages, and it cuts to like a joke of him being like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because the xenophage opens his eyes and he's like, "Oh, my bad," and he walks away. But yeah, other than that, they don't really do a whole lot. I guess they get Venom, or they get Eddie to Vegas, and then that's pretty much it, other than him saving this Eddie at the end of the movie. But they don't really do anything. And honestly, thank God, because there was that whole rumored plot of like a 10-year-old Peter Parker. So like, thank God that didn't end up happening, because that sounded super weird. That whole thing of him pretending to be his dad didn't end up happening, which honestly, thank God, because that was a weird ass plot. But yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up for this review. So I don't really know what to say about this movie because it's just kind of meh, you know. But I feel like this is not the last time we'll see Eddie and Venom together. Even though Eddie and Venom are gone, or like not no longer together, I feel like they'll probably come back one way or another through like Spider-Man 4 or like Secret Wars or something like that. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this review. I haven't really made any videos in a while. It's been like a week since my last video, but like 2 days after I uploaded my FNAF 2 poster video, I ended up having like a sore throat. I think it started around Sunday or Monday is when it started. So, but it's gone now, so that's why I'm making videos again. And for Shadow Generations, I was thinking about making a video on Shadow Generations, and I tried to like a few days ago, but it seemed grainy on the screen. Not really like on the recording, because I was looking at my recording, which was on this monitor, and my recording on this monitor, and on the recording it looked fine, but on the screen that I was playing it on was like grainy and this and that, and just looked super weird. So I'm probably just going to post my thoughts after I'm done with the game, and yeah, which will probably be around like the 8th or something like that of November. So that's when you can look forward to that. And to wrap it up for this video, we're only 55 subscribers away from 600. We were at 545, so if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of Venom: The Last Dance, and what film out of the three is your favorite. Mine's probably Let There Be Carnage, because I did like the fight scene between Venom and Carnage, and yeah, it was just a pretty good movie overall. This film was kind of weird in my opinion. I'm kind of on it, but yeah, it was all right, I guess. But it's gonna wrap it up for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.